Hi there, and welcome to another one of my classic reviews, where I pick one of my all-time favourite movies, give it a rewatch, and then come review it. And in this video I'm talking about Man with a Movie Camera, which is this extremely innovative, unique, very special film from 1929. And it's this incredibly different film, which was this documentary that basically is just one long montage. The whole point of the film is to be an experiment. The point of Man with a Movie Camera when it came out was to show a new way that cinema could be. The purpose, as stated in the opening text, is to show a new way that film could develop. It's a film which is made with all these innovative techniques, and it just plays out as a documentary montage. It's just footage of people going about their everyday lives, and it's cut together for an hour and 10 minutes in this fascinating way. It's a film which is surprisingly engaging. It's really watchable, and it really is one of those films that is very simple. It's nothing necessarily mind-blowing, but what it means for cinema is very interesting. So Man with a Movie Camera is this big montage, and it's filled with unique effects. So it's filled with loads of effects that you didn't traditionally see in cinema up until that point. It's filled with stuff like slow motion, freeze frame. It runs the film backwards at some point. It has a bunch of stop motion animation. The editing is fast and fluid. You have images over images, images within images. You have images from all sorts of interesting angles. You have shots that rely just on light and shadows. Man with a Movie Camera is a really innovative piece of work just because it took a bunch of techniques, some of which were already established to be fair, and put them together in this film which isn't really a film. It's a film with no narrative, with no story, with no obvious purpose except to show what cinema could be. Because it was made in 1929, and this is kind of a statement on film. The point is that film doesn't have to be a narrative, it doesn't have to be escapist. It can be anything. And so what Man with a Movie Camera does is it presents us an alternative. It presents us footage of people living their lives, and it presents us just that as a stream. It's a stream of consciousness almost. And when it came out, it was meant to be the future. It was meant to be what the world would be. It was meant to be what cinema could become. And in a way, it's quite ironic because Man with a Movie Camera has never really been reproduced except the most experimental and art gallery type pieces. You don't see Man with a Movie Camera's influence everywhere. It's a film which is so obviously important and yet has had very little impact on the mainstream. In fact, the worries of the filmmakers, which was, film is just used to tell stories, and why does it have to be? Why can't film be used as a canvas to reflect our world back to us? Why can't it be used as a mirror of reality? Everyone wants to go watch escapism, everyone wants to watch narrative cinema, and it was kind of an attempt to change the flow. And now, almost 100 years later, we're even more stuck on the narrative side of cinema than we were in 1929. The irony of all this is Man with a Movie Camera is a new kind of cinema that was just properly forgot about. Partially because people didn't get it as well, to be honest. So what you have in Man with a Movie Camera is this capturing of reality. It follows a day in the life of workers. It follows people going about their everyday lives, and it's just cut in this montage. You see lives crisscrossing, you see intersections, you have dream sequences, you see also aspects of the film that are about the making of the film itself. It's constantly about a cameraman. If there is one character in this film, it is the cameraman who walks around with a camera. Even he, though, lives like everyone else. He leaves the house in the morning, he works, and he goes home at the end of the film. And it's just capturing this one day, and it's capturing real people, and it's a documentary, and it captures all this stuff. And it does it all with these innovative techniques, and it does it all in a way that was really groundbreaking at the time. And what you have is this long documentary of just real life. And what we have to remember is this came out in the Soviet Union. I think Man with a Movie Camera is in a way the ultimate Marxist film. And I don't mean necessarily politically, but I mean in the sense of what it's trying to accomplish. Because what it's trying to say is we don't need escapism, because in a utopia, in this kind of world, just capturing the happy lives of people is enough. You know, we can make a star out of everyone. The ordinary man can be the star of a cinema. And if more films are made like Man with a Movie Camera, then cinema in the Soviet Union would become this. It would become just footage of happy people living happy lives. It would become a series of real life shown back to real people, because real people in the audience would see their own lives within it. It's that kind of thing. It's the grander purpose of art. If the purpose of art and cinema is not to necessarily just make you happy, to take you to escapist fantasies, maybe the purpose of cinema is to show you your own world, is to highlight the strengths of our own world. And in a way, what you have in Man with a Movie Camera is kind of a dream that's been forgotten, because obviously the Soviet Union now no longer exists, so whatever claims they were trying to say about the world, we don't really have that anymore. There is no equivalent of the Soviet Union that still exists in the world today. And as the techniques of man movie camera are gone, we haven't really been able to see it. So whether or not you even agree with the film on any political level, you don't have to be a Marxist to appreciate it, you don't have to agree with it in any single way. It's interesting because it's the dawn of a frontier that never really came. It's the dawn of what the future of Marxist cinema could be, because what it is a film about the everyman. It's a film about how we don't need to lie to ourselves. It's a film about that. And then on top of all this, it's just wonderfully well made. It's really, really engaging for what it is, which is to say just one long montage of real life footage. Obviously there's a lot of stuff here that's staged, and part of what's interesting is trying to find what's real and what's not, because there's a lot of surreal moments, a lot of moments that are clearly animated, that are clearly set up. There's some moments which are very conveniently timed. There's a lot of techniques here which obviously make the world unreal, but the thing that's interesting is that it's that borderline. It's the fact that it's both our real world and not our real world. And whether or not any of that really matters is interesting. In fact, for a documentary, it even has a dream sequence. It's pretty weird in those kind of ways. And it was a unique example of montage theory, which was this very strong theory that came out of Russian cinema in the 1920s, which is the idea that two images by themselves are more powerful than one image. If you cut between two pictures, you provide an association between those two pictures that is deeper than showing those two images individually. It's the fact that those images are played back to back. And that is the crux of montage theory, and it's the crux of cinema that we still use today. No film in the modern era would work without montage theory. Man of the movie camera is montage theory taken to its logical extension, and used to be a showcase of our world, and used to showcase people, and used to showcase what reality and cinema and our own lives can become. It's a fascinating little work. It's really experimental. It's a film that holds up in both an intellectual sense, because it is very much a film which has a purpose and has a meaning. It's not a film that is just trying to just tell something. It's not trying to really be anything. It's trying to do something that's different and try to just push boundaries, and it's really fascinating. It's a very good historical document for learning about cinema. It's a good historical document just in a way for learning about the attitudes of people in the Soviet Union. It's interesting to learn these kind of things through cinema. It's interesting to learn them through cinema from the time. It's a fascinating piece. I'm not going to lie, it's not a film which I think everyone is going to appreciate, because I think if you're not interested in history or cinema, you will probably get very little out of Man with a Movie Camera. But I will also say this, I've watched it a few times now, and never once have I been bored with this film. It's a film which is very, very watchable, very, very interesting. If you get a good music soundtrack to go along with it, it's actually a really nice watch. So I would say Man with a Camera is obviously a masterpiece, it's an obvious classic, and more than that, it's just a very important, significant, different, innovative, unique movie that really is unique and has never really been replicated. It's really fascinating, really special, and therefore I just think it's an obvious classic, and I think everyone who's interested in it should definitely watch it, because it's a lot more interesting than it sounds in a lot of ways. So Man with a Movie Camera is fantastic. Have you seen Man with a Movie Camera? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave me a comment if you want to let me know what you think. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to hear more of my reviews, and subscribe. If you want to read more of my reviews, then you can follow me on Letterboxd or on Twitter. Links in the description. And thank you for watching.